is 4 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Clark. Here. Ermeling.
Here.
Easter.
Here.
Lopez Serraro.
Here.
Pedro.
Here.
Approval of minutes of the previous meeting, July 28th, 2025. What's your pleasure?
So move.
Motion by. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do, Katrina. Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Lopez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Public comments. I have two correspondents, I have one correspondence. Mr., would you like to stand up and state your name and address?
Jim Weston, 512 Merrill Street. So many of you are, not many, but about half of this board is new. So with that said, I find it very disappointing that this body is not at all concerned with the lack of progress in raising monies other than taxpayer dollars to fund the Kennedy Park overhaul. The group designed solely to perform that function does not regularly meet with the Parks Committee and share the minutes from those meetings with the rest of us. To make matters worse, a representative from the Friends of Kennedy Park has not even been here to speak to the progress, or lack thereof, at most of the Parks meetings since this project began 2 years ago. Will they be presenting anything here tonight? Let's look at the financial report. Your own published numbers show that not one red cent was taken in by the Friends of Kennedy Park towards this project since June 30th, 2025. $35,194.93, the same number reported to the Parks Committee over a month ago. The fundraising entity has successfully shown about 0.2% of the actual cost to complete the project has been collected in 2 years. And in the last 60 days, not a single penny was raised. This is absolutely unacceptable. How many meetings were held with the Friends of Kennedy Park in the last 60 days? I see exactly 0 notes in the meeting minutes to even hint that there was any interaction has taken place all summer. So either secret meetings are taking place or they're just not happening, both of which are embarrassingly unacceptable. How many ask letters have been mailed out? Again, 0. But Jim, I went to the website this weekend for Kennedy Park, www.itdoesn'texist.com. Yep, we don't have a website either. This body authorized hiring not 1, but 2 separate marketing consultants to assist with this project. The first one quit because of the poor communication and lack of enthusiasm and effort exerted by the village and Friends of Kennedy Park. This caused an additional and unnecessary undue burden of cost to the taxpayer to hire a second consultant. Guess what happened to the second guy? Same thing. No one is engaging him to move the marketing forward and nothing is getting done. If there was no intent to actually do the work required for success, why did we pay another marketing professional to get involved? This body needs to take a serious look in the mirror and ask questions to themselves and see if they're really interested in the success of our parks and recreation future. With the inaction and hands-off approach which has been taking place over the last 2 years, I see exactly 0 good coming from this. Can each one of you please state 3 specific things that you have done to ensure the success of this project? And what about the actual cost to maintain and repair the park as it sits and in the improved state? Where are we on that? I personally asked this question months ago. We're literally baseballs deep in this phase 1 and phase 2 of this project right now. Why do the work and ask the questions now? We should just kick the can until the ribbon cutting ceremony is concluded in May of 26. And then in the fall of 26, when we're $1 gazillion over budget, we can have a fire tax and a Kennedy Park baseball tax that both show up in the December property tax bill. A recent records request revealed that there is not one single MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between the Village of Weston and any entity except the Friends of Kennedy Park Group. Yes, youth baseball, DCF School District, they use the field. But the village taxpayers spend parks dollars to pay staff, buy supplies and materials, and maintain the field specifically for those two organizations, and we have nothing more than a handshake deal. Or is there even a handshake deal? There is nothing currently in place to identify responsibilities and expectations of each party. This is absolutely irresponsible and unacceptable. Establishing clear roles will look out for the best interests of all parties. It would ensure that DC Everest and youth baseball have a place to play and practice. It also protects our partners, the Friends of Kennedy Park, who have committed to fundraise for this project and the ongoing costs associated with it. But most importantly, it demonstrates to the taxpayers that this is not just another blank check project with the burden solely on their shoulders. It shows that everyone involved here has real skin in the game and has clearly defined commitments. I honestly feel that Kennedy Park is headed for failure. There is no effort at all being put into trying to plan for success. If this is what success looks like, why are we using taxpayer dollars for luxury items like turf ball fields? We cannot afford to fund the fire department. If things were all cherries and rainbows, why did you have two very skilled, engaged, passionate members of this committee leave? Perhaps this problem is more than turf deep. Thank you.
Anyone else have a public comment? Or anyone online?
There are some individuals online, but no one came off mute.
Okay. All right, and then I have one written comment. This is from Dino Corvino. And it says, "Dear Parks Committee, I wanted to send a note thanking you for the absolutely amazing event with Wassa Events. Live music was my career for a long time, and this came off professionally and, to be honest, really cool. Sean and his crew did a great job. It is my hope you do more of these. You can already see the success at Mockmuller with small scale things. Consider working with Wassa Events regularly. Thank you for everything." Stino Kavich. Okay. Those on file. All right. Educational presentations, update on Kennedy Park renovation and capital campaign.
So there is a RFC in the packet, and Michael and Jamie updated some of the items. We had some pictures. So the first two fields are under construction. You can see that the retaining wall on the backside of, we call field 1, it's actually field 5, has been completed, and they also completed the outfield wall. They're currently working on grading. The dugouts on field 2 have been put up, and they've been working on drainage for the fields. So drain tile, storm sewer. They are, if you see in the first picture, there is, they're in the aquatic center tying into the storm sewer system so they can drain per field. And the backstop posts were installed, and kind of waiting on fencing contractor a little bit as far as making sure they get the pool closed back up before they actually remove the fence. The pool did close yesterday, but just trying to work on that process also. We did include some pictures. As far as fundraising, I know that they are working on an impact grant also.
Jimmy's here. We could have Jimmy just come up if you wanted to talk.
Again, if you'd like.
Yeah, you want to come up to the front? We had a brief update for capital campaign in there, but if you wanted to share more.
Jimmy Olafson, 5503 Winding Creek Drive, Weston. So just a quick update. We have a couple of different grants that we're currently working on. One, we've asked Sean for a handful of construction information. A couple others that we're working through at the moment as well. We've had a couple of different donations over the last month. One from alumni, one from our group. And we've also started speaking as well about the ask letters we expect to go to some key donors this week. We've set that up, so we're working with a couple of different volunteers within our organization since we are 100% volunteer funded. One of the delays there was we're still coordinating with hockey with a little bit of their involvement. They're, I think we talked about that last time. They are fully in support. They do have a new board though, so they're working through some of those conversations with their new board of what exactly that means. But we followed up with hockey, had a couple meetings with them. We have a meeting scheduled for next week to talk about an event that will be held in Green Heck Turner. That will be a late night glow tournament. A lot of the particulars still to be determined, but we're looking at a fun night inside for the community, whether that's wiffle ball or softball, a lot of different options to be had, but we have worked with Green Heck Turner so that it will be late night and it will be under black lights. So I don't know if you have seen some of the similar events. These have been a little bit popular over the last couple of years, even whole stadium events, but we're going to do this in Green Heck Turner. So that'll be one of our focuses going forward. We got a meeting next week for that.
I had February 28th is that date. Does that
I
sound
think
right?
that sounds
Okay.
right. So we've also been working on an online alumni newsletter. Has been one of the things we've talked about, making sure that we have the right contacts going forward. We obviously have a lot of people in our organization, but many more that have graduated from our organization as well. Mike is a good example. He's not only in our organization now, but has come through our organization many years ago. So we're trying to collect some of those lists together.
And still holds a record.
And still holds a record. So that's most of the updates for right now. Any questions that you guys have?
Any questions?
The only other thing, the glow tournament in February is specifically for the lights on field number 2.
Correct. That's the first focus. We've been working with the family of Braden Bone, and that will be a coordinated effort, both for his namesake, Everest Baseball, but that focus will be directed towards the lights on field 2.
That's kind of the next focus goal for fundraising is to get that accomplished, and yep.
Correct. As we're trying to break that up into sizable chunks that we can do some directed small dollar amounts so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming. The lights on field 2 is the next small step for us.
Okay, anybody else have any questions, concern? When were we gonna get that, what was it, 500,000? Is that still waiting for completion, or what is?
That has always been in discussion with the family that they would provide it as soon as we start incurring expenses. So I'm not exactly sure where we are in the construction and the payment process, but as the village starts to incur expenses, they will start paying those dollar amounts. Because we didn't want to hold that dollar amount when they could be holding it and they could be accruing interest. That was always part of the discussion.
Yeah, so to date, we've only received one pay application from PGA for Kennedy Park, which was under that dollar amount. So once we incur enough cost to then show the community foundation like, hey, we've got this. We have a $500,000 payment that needs to be made. We'll let them know and they'll send the village, or they'll give the money to the community foundation will cut the village a check and the village will pay PGA.
Yeah, because I know I've had different people have asked about, well, what happened to that? And I go, well, okay.
And just
Very
because we
comfortable.
don't have that, that's, I don't think is a real issue. That family has
No,
donated that money, and I think some of the talk about it has been pretty insulting.
you know, right, like I said, and I kind of said, I believe they're waiting till, you know, there's bills or something to, you know, complete, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't just talking out of my head,
Yeah.
you know. And Jamie, I don't know, did you remember to give them the information from the,
We can, I did not, but I will follow up. So Barb has good information from one of the local financial institutions too that we can follow up with.
I happen to think, well, I've been gonna ask you and I keep forgetting. Okay, anything else?
I just want to thank you and the other volunteers for everything that you've been doing to try to get this project up. Just being at the concert last week and thinking about the future of that property and what it can look like is pretty inspiring. And I know that takes a lot of hard work from people who aren't getting paid to do it. So appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, and same thing, thank you, most of you guys, that event went off really well. I saw lots of people there really excited about it. I think it went very well, so, great use of space.
We also learned we need to keep the dirt pile.
That was very
Hit with the
popular with
kids.
Very popular.
Better what?
The dirt pile.
Oh,
Kids had fun playing on
well, of course.
it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for all your work. Number 8, update on improvements at Yellow Bank's launch.
So we're happy to say that they're back and working hard. Unfortunately, they ran into couple little things that would slow it down. Soils underneath the site are mostly clay, gray clay, so there's a little more excavation than was anticipated. So, but we did plan on providing sand fill for those areas along with some riprap, road base, etc. So if you look outside, you'll probably see a couple PGA trucks or a Weston truck rolling by right now. Because we are working on site. Right now we're hauling just one truck to keep things going. And then we also ran into a well casing that is not documented as far as we can tell. So they measured it today and they're 160 plus and the tape measure was still going down. So we will be abandoning that well. It's right in the middle of the site. You can't plan for that. I mean, we abandoned the old hand pump well, you know, we converted it to an electric well many years ago. That was 33 feet deep. And everything over there is shallow.
Yeah.
Supposed to be shallow. Well, that one wasn't shallow. So we're assuming those pre-80 park being there. So if you drove by, you could see a 6-inch well casing right above, right in the middle of the hole. And be like, what is going on there? So we've contracted with PGA, they're already on site to properly abandon it, you know, so it doesn't contaminate anything with proximity to well 7, 8. Just do it the right way and go from there. So, but otherwise, I mean, things are moving fast right now. Staff is out there on Friday, fixed silt fence, added extra shoreline protection, another row of silt fence, just because steep bank and, you know, we're struggling with the stormwater there, but hopefully once they start actually putting things back in, it should be okay. So. Jess, do you have anything to add about that?
Besides the silt fence, we also added 10 bales and staked them down. So you have row of silt fence, bales, and then another row of silt fence to hold the shoreline.
And Jamie has something to add too. I see her holding the cards. I know exactly what they're for.
There's 4 thank you cards. If the Parks Committee could just sign on the bottom. We did have 3 of the 4 grants that, well, actually we have 5 now, that we had received in the RFC from previous. We'd like to send them a thank you. But we did just receive from the county $40,000 to pay for the launch. So the Transportation Coordinating Committee receives funds to have accessible transportation options through the community. There's no levy dollars associated with that through Marathon County. They get about $75,000 a year to work with, and 40,000 of that will come to us this year to pay specifically for the launch since it's ADA accessible. So it was just a really nice boost to that overall project. But if everyone could sign
And
on.
thank you, Jamie and Dan,
Dan.
for attending that meeting. Because they ordered it almost 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
so. Need a pen?
Mhm. We just thought it would be nice to do thank you cards for
What health?
all the grants.
Any questions or comments? Okay. I'm quite a few people that are excited about that being done. Cause
Oh, yeah, and
they have
as-
water almost year round there, where some of the other ones, when it gets dry, it's.
Yeah, as Jamie said, specifically for the dock portion of it. You know, not the parking lot, the entry road, but the dock itself, the floating dock, the accessible kayak launch for everybody. So,
And the dock at Trot Street in the city of Schofield is also ADA accessible, so it's a nice, if they can go into the river and they can exit there.
Oh,
I had a friend who recently borrowed my kayaks and went out, and his wife is pretty pregnant, and they were unaware that they had to climb up the side of the hill at Yellow Banks. They just saw, oh, there's a park, we must be able to get out here, and didn't plan ahead. So when I told them that this was going in, they were super appreciative, because it helps with, you know, when you're trying to plan your trip down the river, having multiple options. So it's great to hear.
okay. Anything else on that? Okay, then, update on Rothschild Schofield Aquatic Center joint venture request.
so unfortunately, we don't have a cost estimate yet for the request we got from Rothschild Schofield as far as adding a additional smaller pool. As I explained to Jamie, there's a lot of variables. I think I explained to Betty, like, you know, is it a joint filtration system, you know, will the pump and the piping work for it? You know, do we have to add on to the mechanical room for it? So they've been asking questions. And I mean, this is such a broad request that we don't have to answer all those questions right now. It could just be a rough estimate. So hopefully we'll have something for the next meeting on that. And I know Jamie may have briefly talked to Rothschild Schofield last week. As far as moving forward with that project, or discussing, not actually moving forward with it, you know, Barb's gonna catch me on that one. So.
Did you see my little?
No, I know you'll be like, but he just said moving forward, nobody voted on this.
The question with getting the estimate is we probably would have to do some sort of request for bid in order to get a really solid number. The number that we get is gonna be an estimate, and if once we would take out that request for proposal, that number might fluctuate. And I think we're somewhat thinking that number is based on what it would mean to have the joint venture, right? Because there'd be this investment. And I heard some hesitation about the addition of that pool area, unless it was part of a larger, we're going to be making remodeling, and that's something that the community's been asking for, and we're gonna add that in. So I guess my question sort of to the committee as we pursue this further is, if that's a deal breaker, is that something that would mean that maybe we wouldn't pursue the joint venture as much? How strongly do we feel about that kiddie pool being added or not added? Maybe, I guess, is my question.
I guess from my perspective, as a father, I've taken my children to both pools. I've never had any problems with my children at the Weston pool. I understand that Rothschild kind of has a different aspect to it, but to me, like, as a Weston taxpayer, I have to look at, is there an overwhelming benefit for us to take on this expense? This is a long-term thing to have another addition to the pool. I think it would look cool. It would be a nice little feature there, but I just don't know. I looked at Rothschild's budget for the last 4 years, and it looks like, and there could be many reasons for this, but it looks like for the last 4 years, their revenues at their pool have gone down from, I can't remember, all the way down to like $60,000 this year or this past year. And it makes me wonder, even if they're pulling in $60,000, $80,000, is that going to overcome even our own costs for our own pool, not to mention an additional area, additional potential staff, all those type of things. So to me, without us having, and I don't want to be in a position where it's like, okay, our pool is having an issue, now we need to do something. But if we don't have kind of a general reason to take on this, other than being good partners, I don't know what the benefit is to our community.
I guess I personally have no interest in pursuing putting in a smaller pool at the Weston, in Weston. I think we have enough issues with the stuff that's been going on at Kennedy Park, and the stuff that I read on next door, there is no support of putting another pool in on our property. The idea of a joint venture with Schofield and Rothschild, I still think is a great idea, but not putting in another pool. We have so much other stuff we can be concentrating on at this point, other than developing a plan for a potential pool. Like, I feel like if Weston or Rothschild and Schofield are not telling us upfront, like, we have this much money to contribute, this is what we're willing to do, I don't think there's any reason for us to even pursue looking at how much it's gonna cost to put a pool in. Like, I think we're going kind of backwards here. Like, tell us what funding you're gonna give us and we'll see what we can work within. Not how much the pool is gonna cost. I don't want another expense. The pools don't make money. So I think the only benefit for Schofield and Rothschild closing is that we will have more revenue at our pool, which would only help us in our maintenance of what already exists, as a money loser for the village anyways. You know, I think it will make the loss less. I don't think we need to entertain the idea of putting in a pool, an extra pool if we can look at putting in some other amenities or some other umbrellas would be amazing. Some more shade on the property would be useful. But I agree with Louis. It's fine for smaller kids. I do believe that the Rothschild Schofield pool served a different demographic, but we can't have it all anymore. I mean, the economy just isn't there at this point. So that's my 2 cents.
I guess my thought is if they have skin in the game, that they wanna pay for some of the improvements and help with maintenance on it through their budget, I think we should look at it. Maybe it's modification of what we have now, not necessarily adding a whole new pool. But with closing it down, like you said, both you guys said, it's gonna increase the attendance at our pool, bring in revenues, higher revenues. But there are days, I know when I've gone by, it didn't look like they could get another kid in that pool anyhow. So you might have to have some expansion of what's existing, but that's what we need to look at. And like I said, as long as both communities have some skin in the game, then I think we should be able to go ahead with it. But I don't want to put more burden on our taxpayers for somebody else's betterment.
Well, when they said about the mini pool, well, one of the reasons we built the pool as we did with zero, depth that was the idea, then we didn't have to go with a little pool, a wading pool or whatever you want to call it. But I just, I would love to have Rothschild and Schofield, you know, come in and we have a joint, like I said, that's what originally the thought was, and until referendums were, you know, put us all on our separate paths. But, yeah, I guess if I would not support at all, taxpayer dollars going towards another wading pool or whatever you want to call it. I mean, if Schofield Rothschild wants to put it in and put the separate filters on it and everything else, and then help with the maintenance costs of both pools, probably wouldn't have a problem, but I will not use taxpayer dollars to do it.
I just want to add that, you know, I'm a firm believer in working together to try to achieve some of these big ticket items. So like, I appreciate our relationship with Rothschild that we have with the police department. And I know that there's other things in talks and I hope it continues. This just isn't a place that it would work for me.
And it doesn't mean that a joint venture's not possible, it's just not possible in that parameter. I mean,
Right.
maybe it's
Yeah.
still something where it takes a different form where they would also be able to purchase resident passes, but then we just would have to talk about what does that mean for them to be considered a resident, but I wanted to, as we're doing the homework on what the small pool would cost, I also don't want to be in a position where we get an estimate and it's rough. And we base an agreement on that and it's way more than that or way less than that, then we have an inequity issue. So it's good to know that we do want joint venture, we would like that. But we would only do that additional piece if it was during a natural progression of what would it mean for the pool. Where we're doing remodeling, we'd be adding or subtracting features, we would be doing that as part of an overall pool update.
Well, and my concern is, say, even if we did something with a joint venture on that new pool, Weston still would end up paying the majority of the costs for it. So, I mean, I have, like I said, I don't have a problem if they want to fund it and build it and help maintaining. I don't have a problem, but otherwise, for me, it's a no. All right, anything else? All right, policy issues, discussion and or action on agreement with YMCA for the 2026-2028 seasons. Sean, I assume this is you.
Yes. So, we initially started this agreement following a departure from staff back in January of 2020. Of course, we had to do all the negotiations and figure this all out during COVID, and some were here, some were not. We opened late that year. We were only open 6 weeks. We lost money. But the YMCA has been a great partner. So besides just providing services at the pool, they've also been our CPR, AED instructors for village staff, which there's a couple in the room that participated in that this year. So every 2 years, village staff gets certified to do that too. And because we're partners, they provide it instructor free. The only thing we pay is the certification costs through the Red Cross. But as far as providing services, we don't see any issues with them. We've gotten a great partnership. We've got to know them. They've got to know us. You know, and just communication has been good. Jess is really involved in it more this year than she ever has been. You know, we have a second-year coordinator, right, in Scott. Abby's still around. We lost the coordinator from the last 2 years. They moved on, but we've been constant communication. It goes from birthday parties to closures to, you know, weather-related stuff. I mean, they count on us, we count on them. They don't want to make a call. If, you know, we can make a call, and it's one of those things where I think they become dependent on us because we made the call for 20+ seasons. And now all of a sudden, they're gonna make the call. Well, it's always nice to have somebody that, you know, you can talk to and make a decision together. And if you fail, you fail. If you make a good call, you make a good call. So, I mean, with the exception of this past Saturday, I've literally been in contact for every call for this season, previous seasons. They don't want to bother me. I have some other stuff going on. So, no, literally, like, we make the calls together, and for the most part, you know, between their knowledge, our knowledge, we, you know, make the best call for the facility, the staff. You know, staff is not gonna come back for close 30 days. You know, in the summer, like, they're here to make money too, so, and it's Y staff. I don't know if you're all familiar with that. So the Y staffs, we have no staff at the pool, besides park staff. But day-to-day operations, they run that. Concession stands leased out to a private operator too, so we actually have no staff there during each day. So, and I know most of you all know that. Luis might not know that.
I did.
So, you've been around long enough to know that, so, but no, it's one of those things where it's been a great partnership so far. And I don't foresee that changing unless something happens that would cause that. They're very attentive. They believe in proactive lifeguarding, not reactive. So they do a lot of training. They like to do education. You know, swim lessons are huge. Like, if we could add more swim lessons, they're like totally for it. So, and depending on what happens with the other facility we've been talking about, I mean, because they ran nighttime lessons. They didn't want to compete with us, but they wanted to do something. That's new to them. It was their second year doing that. They also want to run water aerobics in the morning. We'd run swim lessons in the morning. So there'll be more than just, hey, come on over here. It'll be great. There'll be more scheduling stuff to figure out too, just to serve the area.
Questions for Scott?
It is a 5% increase based on the current contract. So they were talking a little less than that when I talked to them, but came in at 5. So
Okay, I have one, I know that, and I was just looking here now, that 33 will be 33,075. That covers now, we pay the wages for this.
we also pay all the staffing costs and additional expenses. So we budget around 130 right now to cover all expenses.
Okay, so other than providing the lifeguards and doing the certification, do we have to pay extra for like when they do the certification or for when the?
No, that's all under expenses, but right now they cover, imagine covering workers' comp.
Okay.
So they cover everything for the staff. Like, we have no expenses as far as.
Well, I was just kind of
Correct.
wondering what that
Correct.
33 entails, so.
So they cover all payroll expenses. Cover workers' comp, any expenses with staff, like as far as having somebody on staff. We know what's the most expensive thing you have at a business. What?
Health insurance and employees.
Employees, exactly. So it covers all those expenses tied to the employees. They have their own payroll system, obviously. They have their own timekeeping system. They have, you know, benefits for some of them. Some of the coordinators get benefits
So what do
too.
we just reimburse them then wage wise or what?
Yes, so we get a
But they pay
monthly.
the workers' comp and we don't pay that, we just pay
No, we don't pay it.
the per hour wage.
Yeah, we don't pay it directly. We pay the YDOC.
Right.
So we get an invoice once a month, and that's
Well,
how,
I was just kind of wondering, because I know you say in there that the wages are paid by us, and I'm going, well, okay, what is this 33,000 besides?
no, that's just admin fee. That's it.
Okay,
And we annually talk about, will you be increasing wages for staff? Because if they increase wages, then our cost is gonna change, right? So we talk about this annually as far as, you know, and it's gone up a lot since 2020. Because you can't get staff right now for $10 an hour,
Hmm.
you know, and these are trained staff. They have to be certified.
Right, we don't want them being paid $10 an hour. They're worth more than that.
No, I know, yeah, and they're still not being paid enough,
Right.
but we got a good work environment there. They love being there. I spent a bunch of time with them yesterday because it's so beautiful out, on the last day.
Oh, it had nothing to do with the race cars.
No, no, I spent a lot of time with staff because it was a little chilly out. But no, I thanked them all for being there. I spent their last, you know, their guard appreciation party. I was there, thanked them all, even though they're not village staff, but just, you know, reiterating that we appreciate them working for us, not working for us, but working for us. And, you know, each year they come back. I mean, because we had a 5th year and a 4-year employee for the Y. There's none left from pre the Y anymore. We lost our last one,
Okay.
but she actually did work for us like 4 days this summer. So,
Okay, any other questions, concerns? Okay, thank you. Oh, we may need to act on this, I'm sorry. So you were talking and I'm
the
just
only
going-
one we have action for.
Yes,
today,
I
so.
was just sitting there and going, okay. I need a motion to recommend or not recommend the agreement with the YMCA for the 2026-28 seasons at the.
So move.
By Easter,
A second.
second by Clark.
Just to clarify, I assume you mean you move to recommend it? Okay.
I assume, I shouldn't assume anything, but yes, I would have. Okay. On the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Okay, possible next meeting date would be September 22nd. I may not be here.
Okay,
Um,
anybody else? We have 5 now, by the way. You guys didn't know, Alicia's our new.
Yes.
committee member.
Yeah, so you'll have to, if I'm not here. My son is gonna be home. And he flies out on Tuesday and usually the night before he leaves, family all gets together. And so,
And he's the one that lives here, right?
yeah, right.
So we recently went to 4 just because of the kind of the sports season and that worked better in the scheduling. But I don't know if 4 will work for Luis if we stayed at 4 o'clock for meeting.
So my work shift is 4:30 AM to 4:30 PM. So the conflict I have is I usually can't get here if I'm solo at my job because I need to have somebody at my desk. So if it's my off day, it's not a problem at all. That next meeting is my off day, so it's not a problem at all. But that's something we may have to discuss.
Yeah, because,
Just because I don't know what's gonna happen with appointments in the next few months, I would say don't change anything. We can always.
right, because I'm just temporary chair right now.
No, you're the chair.
I'm the chair, but until somebody gets appointed.
Maybe,
Maybe,
yes.
maybe not. And that's the same with
You're the chair of our.
So,
So we can always discuss it again in a few
Yeah.
months when we know things.
but
are-
it just so happens that, Monday before, he's home too, but it's not that he can take care of himself. But the last day is, like I said, that's always been kind of we have a big pizza party, so. Okay, other than that, topics for future meetings? Anything that you would like to?
Oh, we have a whole bunch of stuff.
Have we gotten where are we at with, I guess for the next meeting? Where are we at with the stuff on the disc golf course? Going over the pipeline, the mats and stuff?
Yeah, that kind of got.
And I know you always give us, at some point, I don't know when to expect this, an update on like, what were our numbers at the pool this year versus previous years, and you know, how much money did we bring in and all that?
Yes, and
I know that takes time to calculate.
yeah, we won't get the final invoice from the Y till probably late September. Just because their payroll
Sure.
overlaps a little bit different than ours, like ours started this week, theirs ended. And then they'll have some expenses from Saturday and Sunday. That would go in beyond that, so it'll be late September before we get expenses, revenues. Once we get all the invoices that were sent out, paid, which is a big chunk of our groups for the summer. Everest Bench Care, Boys and Girls Club, Marathon County, Boys and Girls Club, Portage County. Multiple camps that come, we invoice them. So once we receive payment for them, and we also have the last invoice due with the session operators. So the last invoice shows their utility invoices for the year. They also are required to, or we split the birthday party package. So they get a portion of the birthday party package, we get a portion. So they get a credit for that, so we don't pay it to them right away. So once that final invoice, what's that?
We'll bring it back with the finals.
Yeah, so she doesn't want me to explain it all, explain the whole process, so,
Right now, we can, when we have it on the agenda.
right, so.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, announcements. Remarks from committee members. Jumped right over there. Remarks from staff. You talked so long, Sean, I forgot.
I know, I talked too much already, but Jamie did bring up revisiting the 4 o'clock. And the 4 o'clock was partially because with sports schedules, 4 o'clock worked better, so then people can make it to their kids' games at 6 o'clock, etc. We start at 5, run into problems with that, so just we'll talk about it again if it comes up.
Over pretty soon.
I know, well, yes and no. You got fall sports, winter sports, so we'll just bring it up again and revisit if we need to.
Yeah, because if it makes it hard for a committee member to make it, I mean, this isn't your full-time job. You know, I always kind of hesitate to make it difficult for a committee member to make it, you know.
We'll figure it out.
You know, but yeah, we'll play it by ear. You're good for next time,
Yep,
though.
yep.
All right.
Did we reach 250 yesterday at the closing day? Did they get more than 250 just because we had the sponsor?
See, you should have been quiet and not even asked, so we had 11 people show up yesterday.
Oh, it was
That
cool.
actually went into the pool.
Yeah.
We served a lot more outside. I have pictures, I shared a couple pictures with Jamie. And I
So
probably
they came
should.
for the food and
They came for the food and to meet with Luke Fenhouse, the family. And it was like a family reunion for them. It was a lot of Fenhouse family. I grew up in the east side of town, so I knew a few, imagine that. Jess knows a few too, so a lot of talking. I got a picture of the parking lot. I mean, we probably had 30 cars in the parking lot and there was nobody. They were all up there getting autographs, taking pictures. We had WDZ there for 2 hours. So it was just an event where you could actually just go visit, enjoy. People are way too shy though, and I'm not, so I was literally dragging people up. You want a picture? You want to meet Luke? Like, you know, so he'll be racing in the Dells this Saturday if you want to go see him. And his next NASCAR Truck Series race is in Talladega if you want to take a trip to Alabama. If you want to spend some money and go on a trip, and if you like racing, but
Go to the Daytona 500. Okay. Anything else?
I just would like to mention too, that I had a lot of good comments about the music in the park, Kennedy Park. A lot of people were like, oh, this should be more often. So if, you know, if that's a possibility that we can work with the Convention Bureau and bring those to the park, I think it'd be a great thing for the whole. And they had something going on down on the 400 block anyhow, and there was still a good crowd out here at Kennedy. I was really, really happy with that.
Wassa events. Yep. And then I apologize, I forget who sponsored the music down there. Yes,
And-
thank you. So Wassa events was To
They
thank for,
work very nice.
yep, they sponsored the band and the stage, yep. The garbage cans and the porta potties, even had the Boy Scouts come through and do cleanup afterwards. So,
I've heard people say they enjoyed it, so I wish I could have made it.
It was good. She was there, she was there.
I was
I
getting
was
older
there.
that day.
He was there.
Yeah, I was getting older that day, so.
Yeah, I would just second that. I mean, as long as I've lived here, I've always kind of craved a community, like a big community festival, because every town I've lived in have had kind of big community festivals, and I think sometimes the suburbs miss out on that. And so it was nice to have that and see that type of a festival and community togetherness down there. And I think it can only grow from here.
Right, anything else? Okay, now we're down to remarks from committee members.
I think we did it.
Yeah, okay. I didn't have it marked off, that's my problem. Announcements, anything?
Tomorrow night,
last night,
last night,
Oh.
Music in the Park, Mox Mueller,
To see.
7 to 8:30,
17.
Amelia Ford, right?
Amelia Ford,
And Barican,
Barican
Barican,
Kitchen,
no,
Barican
Market.
Market.
There we go.
See if I can get my friend to come with me. She said she's not much into acoustic, guitar, just.
Well, so
Oh,
it's,
so what, you just come and chat?
it's completely different than last Wednesday. Last Wednesday was long,
Okay,
like you couldn't, if you were, yeah, it was a rock concert. If you're in front of the speakers, you're not talking to the people you're with.
I didn't think it was an issue. I guess
Go to
it was-
Mock Mueller and,
Oh, got
go
it.
to Mock Mueller
Yeah.
and you can just chat the whole time. and
Right,
Just, it's kind of like background music,
yes,
so.
it's a great time to get together and just talk with whoever you're
With new
sitting by.
people, apparently, right?
Right.
okay. Anybody else? I just got funny. I went to see the Righteous Brothers on Thursday night. Found out that Barry, one of the the original Righteous Brothers, he's older than I am. I made the comment, he walks like an old man, my friend. She looks at me and she says, he's probably about your age. And he was actually older. So it was, it was, and yeah, I enjoy music, so it's, I'll see if I can get her both. Okay, so after that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Scott.
Second.
Second. Louis, okay?
Sure.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. We are adjourned at 4:53.